Cole being a big point for them. But Kitano, he's a really big stat-checking French top laner, basically. They're all just Adam clones now.
Yeah,
we
they
have a
all
whole
play the
factory
same.
of them. Yep, and we've rolled this guy out as well. You can't ignore him if you're going to spend so much time getting Azitor ahead and making Azitor comfortable. You could just play right into Kitano and Vanir's hands.
Again, this is what we were saying at the start of the day. When you lose a key player, it's not just the lane itself that gets effective. You can have multiple different lanes affected by that maneuver. And I think when you consider the style that Kitano has played, where it is a lot of these... I guess we do need to start calling them French-style top laners, because it is sort of a playstyle that's really been born out of that region, particularly at the ERL level. But you're going up against Uko, who has... Whilst he's managed to engineer himself a couple of solo kills, I don't think we've been looking at this guy as the big mechanical top laner, much more likely to default onto something like an Ornn and just be there for his team.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you have so many... It's a terrible pun, but you have so many unique threats from the team on the left that someone has to end up being a bit more of a facilitator. You do want more of a well-rounded team composition, especially at this level. And so Yuko is more willing to do that, but everything that I think that would counter such a pull, say that you have heavy Ornn priority, that feels like something Kitano plays, and he hasn't been targeted. We saw Darius Yasuo bans in the last game from natives. They were heavily targeting this possible issue. Uniq, they seem to be fully willing to run with it. Like, do what you want, Kitano. They might even give Vanir last pick top lane here, and if they do give Vanir last pick top lane here, then that could become a very, very good matchup for them. Taking the Aphelios away from Milio, we just talked about how Milio Aphelios is an incredibly strong thing, and the Vi gets taken. And what was the other thing you're talking about with Milio? Lucian, right? Point and click is the counter to that, and they now have Vi. They've taken the Aphelios away from you. You're likely to have to default towards that Lucian, and the Vi is going to be a very effective pick into that setup.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for something like a hyper carry for Azitor. It's kind of what he was known for when he did play in the NLC a few splits ago. And hey, if you just want to sort of take one 80 carry, sub in another, make an 80 carry focus composition, maybe that's your option. But it is going to be that Lucian with the Sejuani for Waljo. So Uniq holding onto their solo lane picks for the second phase of draft. And I think Vanir likely to do something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect top lane bans from Uniq unless the top laner gets picked here, but there's no reason not to just counter bot lane now. You have double point and click into the Lucian. Vanir have such a good setup to make it so Azitor cannot play in his debut game in the NLC. And meanwhile, what kind of composition are we going for here from Uniq? We're trying to do this traditional Lucian thing of trying to get a big wombo combo off, allow the Lucian to get his full burst, but he doesn't have an army, so he doesn't have the level of power that he would have in that situation. You want to play DPS, well, the point and clicks are going to have something to say about it on the side of Vanir. Looking very rough. I like the Vladimir hover, because that's something that Vi can't really deal with very well. The untargetable against the ultimate from Vi can be one of the most annoying things in the game. That Yasuo is being removed, right? They see the threat of Sejuani going with two lanes that could do a lot of damage, and honestly, I like Yasuo into stuff like Darius because of the mechanics with the Q. I'm struggling to see the path forward from Uniq that doesn't just have double threat solo lanes where you're not just unreliant on the Lucian, but that also puts your newest player in the most uncomfortable position. The Ahri basically has to be removed with the Vi being there. That's such a strong combo. They set each other up way too well, and they also active dive buddies with each other. You can't let that in. And now you're choosing, what if they go for what if they go for the Syndra? What if they go for the Annie? What if they go for another kind of easy control option in towards that Lucian? The Annie is still up, and you may even see that instead. You're seeing Kitano on the Ornn. That is very interesting.
So this would imply to me that we are just going to be seeing a full bot side focus here from Vanir, and whilst that's not the worst thing to do when you've got an AD carry as good as Liam Cole, maybe you're not taking advantage of a top lane matchup that could favour you here. Uniq, I think with these last two picks, they've drafted a lot of kind of safety. Azir, Cassante, you can slam those into a lot of situations, they're going to do fine.
both sides recognize something. The entire game is going to be decided by how well Azitor is allowed to do, and the fact that this is an inherently uncomfortable position for that Uniq bot lane. Vanir's decision is to just ram it over and over and over again into submission, and Unique's decision is to give it as much backup as humanly possible, where I think right now you'd prefer to be on the side of Vanir. Vanir do have a backup, right? Their 2v2 mid jungle is very strong in skirmishes, but Uniq are the guys that could have a level of priority in that mid section early on. This is an easy build path for the Sylas though, so that window is not very long. I do like picking the Ornn away, because the Aphelios can be quite vulnerable in towards that Ornn, but ultimately, what I'm seeing, there's a lot of pressure on Azithor here, both from his team and definitely from the enemy picks. It's going to be a very difficult game for him to play out, and that's not something I'm saying towards his skill level. Lucian into a Vi, into a Nautilus, into the Aphelios ranges, that's difficult. He doesn't have the Nari to just spruce up his damage. He's going to be the target every single fight. Good luck. Good luck, buddy.
I just mean, sometimes you're playing cricket and you're doing really well, and then the bowler just throws a hand grenade at you, and there's not much that you can really do in that situation. I think there's potential on some other picks. I think Uniq Corner's quietly been one of the mid laners that has done decent on something like the Azir, and I think we've all seen Cassante when he gets into a backline, if he's on itemization spikes, he can be a bit of a nuisance, but getting those champions to those points against Vanir, I think, is going to be the really difficult thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have more routes early on in the game, super early on in the game, than you have later in the game. And I'm talking pre-6, right? Pre-6, there are avenues for them to try to get these skirmishes off. But that's not as true as it was before. Lucian lanes aren't heavy lane bully lanes now. They are one-item spiking lanes. But still, if Nautilus doesn't land a level 1 hook, that's something you can play around. Nautilus level 2 to level 6 is not that useful of a champion compared to most others in the game, especially when you have that bonk from Milio interrupting everything. Ultimately, though, the Milio cleanse is not really going to do that much here. There are so many knockups on the opponents, knockups and knockbacks that the Milio's not going to be able to account for. It's a rough one. It's a rough one. That's the technical term for something like this. If you are that Lucian, it is a rough one. You're thrown into this as your debut game, and the enemy just picks everything against you, even modifies their own identity and playstyle to play hard into you. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this one goes, because there is a reverse where the initial plays happen so early on such a grouping that Azitor actually does do well on those, right? Maybe you don't have all of your point and clicks up yet, right? And if you do it before that point, maybe Azitor starts really feeling comfortable, really feeling safe, because this much has been thrown against him, and he's still able to succeed. So I think this is going to be a game decided quite early on. I think once either team gets the momentum, they're going to run with it. The question is just which team gets that momentum. If Vanir hold to 6, should be really easy for them to get the momentum. But if Uniq makes something happen before that point, maybe they get to run away with the game as well.
And considering the stakes of this game, right? Both these teams sat in 2 and 4. Both of them will feel like this is a game that they probably should win. And so for Uniq, it's rough. You come into this matchup that you feel like you should be winning. You kind of need to win if you want to push for something like playoffs, which is still a realistic possibility for this team, but you're playing with a substitute AD carry. Your next match up against Nord, the other 2 and 4 team, you're also going to be having to play that with a substitute AD carry. So this situation feels like it couldn't really have happened at a worse time for Uniq, barring playoffs and shenanigans like that. But that's kind of where you show your mettle as a team. And if you can't win these games, then maybe you don't deserve to go to something like the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be a bit of a harsh statement.
I'll put it out there, see how you feel about it, and then let it come back, you know?
Yeah, there are circumstances sometimes that are out of your control. They can really, really suck. You can push through them, right? Teams have pushed through them. I've been in situations where being able to push through stuff like this because there aren't as many expectations on you from the enemy team, so it can be really easy to throw them off. If you're able to throw them off with these hard early plays, that's how they do it. I mean, there's also another angle here. There's an angle here where the Nautilus lands a hook level 1, and Uniq are just that bad, and they just lose straight up. But I don't really see it with an Aphelios level 1 as well. So
yeah, doesn't have an ability. at level 1, which really sucks when literally every other champion in the game does. Nothing too crazy going on in terms of level 1s. Just going to be 5-point starts for both of these teams. Playing its 4th consecutive NLC split, but the organisation dates all the way back to 2017. Playing in Norwegian tournaments. I'm assuming that's stuff like the Teleligaen. I think there are quite a few orgs that have had like some success in those sorts of competitions that have then come through into the NLC.
They've both done it. Both of the logos are just all the letters. They've both done it.
I was wondering where that was going to go.
Have only Ruddy not done this? They've both done it, by the way.
What what with their like having a letter as their logo?
No, the Uniq logo has U, N, I, and Q in it. Why do you think that red thing's at the top left? And the Vanir logo has V, A, N, I, and R in it.
Where's the N in the Vanir logo?
That's it's actually really easy to see. It is, no?
Oh yeah, no, I think that is. Well, I mean, Ruddy have also put like the letters of their org name in their logo. They've just spelt it out, which I think is
spelled it.
It's the more traditional way to do it. I think there's something to be said about making sure that your team logo is accessible to everyone who might be watching it. Level 2 about to be hit here on the bottom lane for Azator and Poopy. I'm really interested to see how they pair up as a duo, right? Because for Uniq, Poopy and Rusty Sniper have played together as a duo for so long that you're coming in with a new AD carry, and that's obviously going to affect things.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think that do I think it's lucky? Uniq don't have that much pressure on them in the early game. They have 2 winning lanes. They have 3 winning lanes, honestly. Super early on into the game here. Azir should be able to get this priority over Silas. The way that you get around that is if you're able to get these kinds of forces off. Like this 2v1 gank, that's what they want. But he's just going to get out. He's playing in his minions. He's completely fine with this. The wave could be a bit bad, but there could be a response play from Sejuani. Vi doesn't have the freedom to just stay here, which is going to let us on a lot. And bot lane, they're fixing their wave at the same time. Oh,
yeah, Katano getting top lane wave state in a fairly dangerous position for Uko. Thankfully for him, junglers both on the bottom side of the map. And Uniq going to be using a little bit of this lane priority to get some vision into PPV's jungle as he's going to smite that blue away. But this is kind of mirroring a little bit of what we saw in the previous game. Teams love to do this. You get that bot lane shove, you go into the enemy jungle, try and spot out where they are. And when you're on a champion like Vi for PPBat, the enemy team having full knowledge of your location sucks.
Yep, and Lucian, Milio, they just will have these kinds of priorities against an Aphelios Nautilus lane, right? It's not just about the melee support, but also the fact that Aphelios, as I believe we've said before, just doesn't have any abilities open level 1, right? He's not really him level 1. He's him later, but he's not him now.
I think Liam Cole has also just been him, right? A couple points for Vanir. Obviously instrumental in them picking up their 2nd win of the split. Last game day of last week, and as a team we've kind of talked about them being better than maybe their results have shown, and so for the second half of the split, for the 2nd round robin, I think they're really going to want to build up some momentum, and getting a win here today versus a potentially weakened Uniq would be a really good way to do that.
I mean, one has to question, why exactly is Liam Cole on the Philios? Like, did we not learn anything from that first week? Like, this is a bit, I don't know. This does feel like you've thrown a Zetor there at the deep end. Did you not think they were going to pick Aphelios away when you locked Milio? They're like, oh no, we don't have Milio, we can't go Aphelios. Like, 100% they recognize the weakness then with the point and clicks up. Yeah, I feel like even though Liam Cole doesn't have that much agency super early on into the game here, he's going to have so much later. And right now, with that push in on bot, they got that slow push, they had those levels. You have Nautilus moving topside, so this fight... to be more than a 2v1.
Very close to going very, very bad for Uko. If that Vault Breaker had connected, then we'd be looking at a dead Cassante. Woljo waiting in the wings, but I'm not sure if he's aware that Garfield has also rotated over. Vanir spending multiple members into the top lane to try and get a kill, but They will not. Wave reset, going to head back to their lanes.
Yep, I mean, technically right now, Azetor has better itemization than Liam Cole does because he was able to back on an additional 2 waves, but Liam Cole, he could legit fix that by just shoving this wave in and pressing B, and he is going to do that. Now he has parity on spent gold when he gets into the base here, so a small advantage Lucian had, it's not going to last anymore. He's putting that into move speed, going for early, but...
Oh, Garfield! Oh, how does that hit? He's going to get pushed under the tower and flash away.
Okay.
Unique Corn ready for that, as the Vanir support was sat on a ward for the entire time, but does mean that Shurima shuffled down with the Drake on the map.
Yeah, flash down for Nautilus, but the ultimate being down for Azir is much worse when it comes to contesting, because Unique would have to go into Vanir. So Garfield doesn't need that flash as much as the Azir needs his ultimate, so ultimately a win for Vanir. That should be a Drake secured, and if they're securing Drake and everything is grey, then Liam Cole is somewhat safe to shove out on that bot wave. He's going to join his team, but he was safe in that 2v1 situation there, because for all the enemy knows, they're not doing the Drake, they're just sat in that brush, ready to defend their superstar Philios one trick, who got a Philios, man! Like, how did this happen?
It just keeps happening. He can't keep getting away with it. Wave is going to get shoved in here by Azator and Poopy, who I think they haven't dominated this laning phase, but Azator is doing reasonably in terms of CS, and Liam Cole isn't going to be able to equalise that all the way, even when this wave comes in.
Yeah, it's dropped minions for sure, but
yeah.
Is it dropped gold or is it dropped XP, right? And that matters more. Like, if he's able to get the XP for it and his team was able to get the objective, I think you take that. But obviously, as a Lucian, you definitely take that gold and the effective stats that it's going to give you later. But it might not be that bad. We just didn't get to see the wave at that point, so it's difficult to pull yet. And honestly, this Aphelios is going to have really good options later anyway. I feel like it's so difficult for Azetor to play out the game that Vanir can play like this, because they do naturally scale in. They just want to make sure the Lucian, who's playing very aggro, doesn't get much early. They're trying to find it.
Yeah, and they're going to be successful for now. Super Mega Fire Kick does not back Azator, but Harbo is roaming over with the Sejuani ults. Piva, also level 6, has made a couple of excursions into lanes, but hasn't really been able to find too much. And post 8 minutes on the board, spotting out the Vanir jungler on bot side, Woljo is going to start up Rift Herald.
You know, we talked about how it was better for the Drake that it was an Azir for Nautilus Flash, but right there, Nautilus has Flash. That is a very dead Lucian. So long as Azetor was thinking about that when he was playing as aggressively as he was, then that was really good awareness by him to do so, because he only had that window because of the flash burn on mid lane, and because of the timer that he should have on it.
BP Bat still in this bottom side. Potentially looking at a dive coming out from Vanir. Poopy burning that Q, so maybe that's a cooldown that they can play towards. Azator is very far up. Flash for the cook! Depth charge is going to come through, but Vanir can't chase the dive under the tower, so it's just Azator's flash off the board, and not much more. Still no kills in this game.
Yeah, still none, and honestly, Vanir are the ones who are more comfortable with that, because fights are easier for them. Unique are the ones that want the advantages early. And you can see that they are in the position to try to get these. The lane that's been struggling as being top lane, but mid lane, Harbo's being shoved in permanently, he's always on low HP. They're gonna go again for the play, but Vi, there to defend.
Maybe here to get something more. PP Bat didn't quite have that cease and desist, so not able to capitalise off the stun under the tower from Harbo, but he's done a decent job of sort of surviving the lane, right? Whilst Unique Corners permanently had that pressure, this is here. Hasn't been able to use that to get any roam plays off, right? And it's not like Harbo is dropping down particularly far himself, so once we get this Silas into skirmishes, he's still going to be a major threat.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, the engage that they have, the follow-up for Silas is really easy with a whole bevy of ultimates that are available to him on the enemy team, right? So long as this guy is just following up on really easy setup, then fights are ridiculously easy. And, you know, Vanir, they have the option to come in second. Every single time we talk about coming in second on an objective, it's all about, do we have the burst, do we have the lockdown? They have every single one of those, and Silas will have his place. The game right now is survive, get to that point, you should get a big wombo combo off, the Aphelios should get monster fed off of it, and you should be in a good position to win the game. Unique, they haven't been able to find more than incremental advantages, but they'll take that, right? That's more than you would expect Uniq to be able to get with a substitution in such a major position like this. Zetor playing very well, given the level that he is being dumped into, with little to no warning. Hats off to him. Just have to see if Uniq are able to bring that in, because looks like Vanir, they keep trying to find something on this Azir, but it's very difficult for them to do so. Azir just has so much ability and so much safety, and Harbo can't just extend, or he's going to be on too low HP to get any kind of a good wave state.
I think that's the risky thing, right? And if you end up trading your HP for position against an Azir, you can end up in situations where you're getting knocked under towers and your life's ending very unpleasantly. Once again, we're having junglers towards the bottom side, and once again, they will move away from each other without finding too much in terms of damage. But Uniq, a little bit more concerned with chasing into the jungle. Kitana was moved over, but the Call of the Forge God is going to be interrupted. Numbers advantage here for Vanir as they're engaging on the bottom side. Poopy going to be caught out, and there goes the cease and desist onto his AD carry. It's a double kill for PP Bats, and Uniq not able to match in the bot side river.
Right there, they enter River second, but they come at it from multiple angles, and they have the lockdown, they have the CC, they have the burst, and now they have the kills. Vi 2-0 up. Milio was the one that was engaged on, Lucian was the one that suffered for it, and really, you can't look at that and see an easy way for Uniq to be able to play that out short of already having a good lead. They want to put Vanir in a position where Vanir can't even enter at all, aren't even thinking about contesting them.
Oh, going all out
Very
for a solo
duel
kill onto
here.
Kitano. I mean, the Ornn still has flash if he needs to use it. Just going to burn that. Knockup still available for Uko. He's going to push back Kitano, and that's one of those famous Uko solo kills that we've heard so much about.
There you go. All right, the Cassante is ahead, and like last game, it's not a technically, it is an actual fact. Cassante is on the board. Very, very powerful champion. That's something Uniq sorely need. They've been trying to find these advantages mid, trying to find these advantages bot, but it's top lane alone that is able to get the game in an okay position for Uniq. That Herald being dropped in the mid lane, that's going to pay dividends as well. The Azir is going to take that. So now it's all a question of the Lucian, right? Is the Lucian going to be able to play out these fights? Are they going to find a way to get tempo on the map off of these small advantages? How do they do it? You may not want to play through the Lucian this time round. It looks like the enemy's already initiating the swap phase.
Yeah, and I think for Uniq, the rest of your lanes are doing well, which is even better. And so whilst Azator does not have that Kraken Slayer, and you were saying that you can play a lot more with this level 1 spike on the Lucian, it's not like he doesn't have a team around him that can also do decent things. Coming towards the 14-minute mark now, 30 seconds until the plates fall off, and both teams basically dead even, but Vanir do have those early drakes, which is going to impact how Uniq can play the map a little bit later on.
Yeah, Garfield looking to get Harbour's burst.
Yeah, looking to hunt down onto Poopy. Once again, the Melio getting caught out, and Vanir going to be benefiting from that kill.
Bit of a poopy play there.
I didn't want to say it.
I mean, it's just... it's just... I mean, you're going to name yourself that, you're asking for it, no? Like, you're asking.
No, absolutely.
There are some names that are just built for cast, you know? And that's one of them. That's one of them. Unicorn is the opposite. That's built to throw off the cast, you know?
That's specifically done to make it harder. Well, maybe not. Maybe Unicorn was the name of like their teddy they had when they were 5, and so it's got deep sentimental value to them.
It's just a big coincidence.
I think that's more likely what it is. PP Bat with another visit to mid lane. He hasn't been able to find too much of this before, so he doesn't even bother charging up the queue. Just make sure that Harbo can actually clear the wave.
No more plates on the map, though. The plates advantage is squarely in favor of Uniq. What they want to do by defending this bot tower is make sure that the enemy doesn't get first tower blood. But honestly, if you can trade it for mid tower, which is very low, I think we'll take that as Uniq.
I mean, TPs are available if they want to respond. Vanir going to back away. Woljo done a very good job of sort of covering this bot lane when PP Bats wanted to go for aggressive plays. Has also done a pretty decent job of scaring off the Vi when she's looked at those.
Yeah, I mean, every time Vanir's tried to force something in a lane, it actually hasn't gone to plan, but they're slowly whittling down this tower. They're just not getting much for it. And I do feel like the biggest thing on the map that's being whittled down is that mid tower. You get that down, you can set up the map in a way that's favorable for Uniq, where they can levy this Cassante advantage. They can levy a fairly strong Lucian, right?
I think they're just going to get it in mid lane there. Veteran looking at the minimap with Harbo moving over. Not this way, maybe just on the next one. But that's big, right?
The
there's like 200 HP on that.
My God.
Probably don't even need to invest the Rift
to
Herald.
drop Herald
Yeah,
there.
no,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
I think you just move a couple of members over there, you threaten with ultimates, and Harbo just can't stand under the tower.
yeah, I mean, just escort Unique corner here. He knows he can just lean very heavily to top side because Woljo's there. Woljo, just make sure he gets all this down. Once you get that down, then just set up the map to drop the Herald on the side lane and start trying to make plays for this Drake, right? Honestly, dropping the Herald now, just so that you're able to enter that river first and you're able to get a favorable position over Vanir, I could understand that, but I really do think just leaving that mid tower to be taken individually and finding a way to drop the Herald elsewhere, that is the angle, right? That is the angle, and clearly Vanir also see that angle because they're trying so hard to defend this. They realize, okay, we whittled that bot lane down. We didn't get that many plates from it because for the last two minutes, almost 3 minutes, no plates are being available. Oh, it looks like Unique. They have a decent angle in towards the Drake pit here. Not really a big flank angle on the Lucian there from Vanir. Unless Lucian just starts hitting tower now, in which case you might see Vanir peel heavily off.
Oh,
they
they're
will
actually
drop
gonna
the Herald mid. Yeah,
they're gonna use that. No, I think Woljo's just some of that bottom lane actually, so they're gonna try and get tower down, but Unique, they're walking into a trap of their own making as Vanir claps on them in the jungle. Double flash to get away, and Cassante not quite able to find the access. Ozitor here on the side. Harbo taken low himself. It's a load of damage being traded. Culling going through as Harbo is taken out, and PP Bat a little bit lonely on this side of the fight. Unique able to get 2 out of the play.
Couple of things there. They opened up on the Cassante, the very tanky Cassante, and Woljo did miss his ultimate. But when the point and clicks came down, they came down on Poopy and not Azitor. Azitor was untouched on the other side of that Drake pit, able to do as much DPS as he possibly could. A composition designed to counter a Lucian was unable to get onto the Lucian. They burned all of those tools before Lucian was even in the game, and so that Lucian was able to get free reign, and they couldn't do anything about it. Azitor had a really good performance in that first fight, and Vanir, they really dropped the ball to getting what the entire point and purpose of their picks is.
Yeah, it's just fine. But think about like the swing in that play, right? Not only was that the 2 kills for Unique that they got in that fight, it was bot lane tower, it was Drake, it was mid lane tower as well. So you've got massive injections of gold. Uko on the Cassante is looking terrifying right now. You've advanced the map in a favorable position, and you've stopped the Drake stacking in favor of Vanir. Unique, that play, as small as it was, has had massive ramifications for this game.
I mean, this is why I just slammed it really hard on Unique, you know, just any like good analysis of the lineup that we definitely knew was happening here would obviously get you to this particular point, middle corridor.
Yeah, no, obviously. That's just how everything works. 200
I wasn't
IQ.
sweating and contacting my lawyer about being unable to change it at all.
You're there in the the spreadsheet, just like change it back, just make sure. No, hold on. Azitor, yeah, I knew he was going to completely stomp, come in, just completely take over the league.
So
but
obvious.
I think the key thing here from Unique is it's not been bot lane, and okay, that makes sense because Rusty Sniper isn't here, but they've been doing other things, and they seem to be finding success with them.
Yeah, I mean, living true to their name, but again, that fight was a lot on how Vanir just weren't keeping the cooldowns up they needed to keep up. Like Ruddy were able to win one fight because MB Carry played so intelligently with his cooldowns, Vanir need to play a bit smarter with theirs, save it for the Lucian, and if they save it for the Lucian, there is no AD Carry available on the side of Unique. They can't just open up on the Cassante and then throw point and clicks on the Milio. That's not how they win fights. These aren't the targets that they want. Yes, it's a scary Cassante, and yes, Milio is a very, very annoying champion. But you don't need to take it all out on them in this competitive match. Eyes on the prize, guys. Get that Lucian down, and you can probably win the next neutral fight. Think about how well they were able to explode the game on the first fight. They just want to get those on repeat, and all the tools to do that are still available on the side of Vanir, plus Liam Cole and Aphelios. right?
Yeah,
Just give
no.
this guy a decent fight, control enemy AD carry, and you know Liam Cole on Aphelios is going to bring it home.
I like how it's a win condition onto itself, right? You could talk about
Yes.
Aphelios being an incredibly strong champion, but a guy like Liam Cole, he just does it that little bit differently. And he can make things happen even when they don't look likely.
It's like back when, you know, there were people who picked Draven and there were Draven players.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Like, Liam Cole is an Aphelios player, you know?
Yes.
Like, this is just, like,
Do you know what it
the
is?
game is a bit different now, alright?
It's the different from those, like, Draven players that would, like, oh, I'm going to win every trade, versus the Draven players, like, the enemy AD carry does not get to CS for the first 5 minutes of the game, right?
Oh, yeah,
I feel like
no.
that's the sort of difference in terms of the power level we're talking.
And also, like, what I love with, like, when it's a Draven player is you can see that thinking happen on, like, every champion. Just incidentally, it works best on Draven, you know? With Aphelios players, you can kind of see the same thing. They're closer to mid lane players than they are AD carry players in the way that they handle. And yeah, you just don't want to give them an Aphelios, because if your AD carry is not also an Aphelios guy, he's going to learn a lot of things in that game. It's a very knowledge-based champion, right? And Liam Cole has downloaded the hard drive. You know that scene in The Matrix where Neo learns Kung Fu by just downloading it all? Like, that's basically what you need to catch up to an Aphelios player, right? On the Aphelios champion. And Liam Cole is one of the league's famous Aphelios players. I don't know, I just don't know why you would opt to just, like, up your opponent on the tier list like that, you know? I don't know. But that being said, you know, if they mess up, it doesn't matter. They still have to enable Liam Cole.
But people play Dark Souls for a reason, right? True. Maybe that's what Uniq wanted. They want a little bit of a Dark Souls experience because, I mean, he is giant enemy raid boss in the hyper late game. 2 items here completed for Liam Cole, and the upgraded Gale Force, the Typhoon from the Ornn items from Kitano. Vanir going to be able to take their first tower of the game, but it's traded for that bot lane tier 2.
Yeah, but it is a mid lane turret. Yes, you get the 600 gold from the bot lane tier 2, but the mid lane turret can do a lot to lane setups. They're starting and they're trying to force. They have really good turn off a Baron, in fairness. If Uniq goes straight for the contest, it could go very bad. Hooks down!
Yeah, and that's going to open up some opportunities at Uniq. Uko being targeted initially with the engaged. Double knockout coming through here from the Call of the Forge God, but jumping all this damage into the Cassante is maybe not optimal. Uniq, Azator, completely undamaged at the backline as Harbo is trying to find them, but he's not going to be able to. The Emperor's Divide separating the Silas from his health bar, but Kitano knocks up everybody, and Liam Cole can do everything that he wants. A double kill for the Aphelios, flashing over walls for triple kills. Vanir, come alive!
Azito was feeling it, and on the ultimate, I thought the fight was won. The Vi cooldowns were down, everything was down, but unfortunately, he then went a bit too far trying to get the executions off, and Liam Cole had about 5 billion boomerangs and is able to clean up that fight. Kitano landing a beautiful set of knockups as well. You can see here, Vanir, they wanted to be more patient at their point and clicks. They weren't just immediately throwing everything. And Azito, he is tracking these cooldowns. He's trying not to let it get on towards him. Harbo does get on, but from this position, he sees an execution angle. He goes in a bit too far, and the knockup comes down. And unfortunately, it's not it.
Was that knockup from Kitano off the Azir wall?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, my word.
Yep.
Oh, that feels absolutely awful, because Uniq Corn, you've got to throw that down to get Harbo away from you, but ends up being a tool of your own destruction. And now Vanir, they're still down in gold, but you could see them, right? The confidence, the way they're walking. They know that they can win this game. Liam Cole just got a triple kill. He's probably going to get some more kills before the game is out. This is sole point for Vanir if they can take it down.
Yeah, and Uniq, they're now the ones coming in second. They don't have the burst. It's not a Lucian Nami, it's a Lucian Milio, it's a DPS, and the enemy, they can just turn whenever they want from a neutral and engage like they are right now on Yuko.
Yeah, once again, we're going on to the Cassante first, but that worked well for Vanir in the last team fight. Kitano taking a lot of the initial engaged depth charge. Going to be Zhonya's here by Uniq Corn, as Wojo is not surviving in the front line. Multiple people being shoved in multiple directions by multiple ultimates, but Vanir once again finding just about the edge of things. Harbo surviving on the side. Massive Moonlight Vigil as Azator is going golden in the middle of everybody, and Harbo will clean him up. Clean 2 for 0 for Vanir.
Yeah, I mean, Uniq were heavily pinned there. They'd gotten them between their own tower and them on the other side as 5 bodies that, you know, you just have to fight now as Uniq, but you don't have the engage tools to be able to do so. That isn't the kind of fight that you want to take. That isn't the kind of map that you want to play. They had absolutely no choice, but they had all the options. Liam Cole, 3-0-5 now. His team is finally getting the setups down, and Liam Cole rotating through those guns, getting all of the damage that he wants. Looking like an Aphelios main on Aphelios, and 550 gold bounty. You'd love to pick that up as Uniq, but you also know you're going to have a very difficult task trying to get it.
So, I kind of want to ask you a question, Veteran, because the last couple of team fights, Vanir have engaged onto Uko, and they've spent a lot of time trying to kill Uko, and they haven't actually succeeded, but they're still finding themselves on the winning end of these team fights. That feels like it's an ideal scenario for Uniq. What do they need to change so that they can come back into this game?
I think they need to stop just hard grouping as 5-on-5 and find skirmishes, right? The combination of setup and damage is really big on Vanir, but that is only one that exists as a 5-man unit. Say that you are able to get a play against, like, Vi, Nautilus, and Silas, suddenly it's much easier to play a long fight than if you add the Ornn and add the Aphelios into the mix. Or it's Aphelios and 2 setup, well, then it's much easier to play around that than if they also have the burst from the Silas. It's a very well-rounded composition on Vanir, but it's a very well-rounded composition as 5, not necessarily as 3 or as 2. So split the map, try to get these small skirmishes, and that's how you fight your way back in. On a 5-on-5, unless they just burn all their point and clicks on Milio again, there's no realistic route or path to victory against Vanir.
Especially when you consider that Liam Cole now has that 3rd item, the Lord Dom's completed. So
Yes.
Ukel's health bar significantly more vulnerable as Vanir posted up in the topside jungle of Uniq. No Baron to really play for, but they can get a pick, potentially onto Wojo. They will take it. They do need to be careful. Harbo, a little bit of a way away.
Yeah, but Uniq, they are kind of having to play Vanir's game here. I do feel like there's an option where Cassante is just off on the side on bot lane, but they aren't able to set up the map the way that they want to. They aren't able to split Vanir, and Vanir, you know, they're feeling so comfortable here, right? The next big fight's going to be in about 1:40. You're going to have to choose between Soul or Baron as Uniq, whereas Vanir, they win no matter what happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, you trade that individual Drake for a full Baron, I don't think Vanir are going to care. Or you're just going to give Vanir the Soul. I think they're going to take down. I think they're going to 5-on-5 you.
This is what happens when you've got a comp that has a lot of engage, but also has siege potential. When you're in these late game scenarios where you have to go, do we want Baron, do we want Hextech? You can go, oh, either is fine, because we know that if we get the combat stats, that we can use those to engage a fight and win it. And you know that if you get the pushing stats, you can siege Unique's base and take the Nexus with ease. Vanir looking really good, looking like the team that we kind of expected them to be. Honestly, looking like the team that they have been all split, but finally, it looks like they're going to be getting some W's on the board for that.
Do we bring up this against the sub lineup? Or
I don't know. I think we let the narrative roll. We let it just go out there. Vanir are really, really good. Uniq are not playing with a substitute AD carry. Everything's fine.
Yeah, and I mean, to be clear, we're not blaming Azator for it. The whole team gets thrown off when you are having to play with a completely new player, right? The 5-man unit they had beforehand doesn't exist. The stuff you've practiced for ages doesn't exist. That guy doesn't have an idea of how you work, and you don't really have an idea of how he works. The whole thing gets thrown off, right? So no flame on Azator. He actually played super well in the early laning phase, was getting a lot of good advantages. It was in that 5-on-5 when he specifically has been targeted. Like now,
Wojo being put, but PP back finding access onto Poopy. A little bit of a split situation. The Melio being assassinated. Uko taken down. There's that Lord Doms providing that additional value, but Uniq still feeling like they want to fight this. Uniq on 3 items, level 16 on the Azir. He is very, very strong right now, but Mikitano, the rest of Vanir with the numbers advantage. You're just looking for an engaged Garfield, flashing over the wall, catching out Waldrew as Harbo going on to the side as well. And Vanir, they just press all the buttons, and Uniq, they just take every single bit of damage, still kiting away Azur, dropping the culling, but he's not going to be able to survive. Uniq being chased down, Vanir flashing over walls to take out opposition members. And Poopy is able to escape, get away, but he is not having a great time. Vanir going to look through to push, maybe can get the end.
Yeah, Vi had the point and click up, held it, got onto the Lucian, and suddenly the Lucian was in range of all of the damage. Liam Cole has not died, by the way. 6-5, 700 gold bounty, playing every single fight very well, based around the ways that his team is enabling him. The team set him up, and Liam Cole has definitely not given them cause to regret it. Another phenomenal performance from him on Affiliate.